Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis, and it is July. Um, let's see, okay, July 8th, 2024, and I am just touching base. We just had our Independence Day weekend here, and it was a good weekend. It was raining at first, and then uh, I ended up going to Wisconsin Dells, where I've never gone before, which is only about 3 hours from the cities here, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of cool things to do there, but it's not like overly crowded. It was just it wasn't too much traffic, too many, and it was still fun, and no lines or anything, and a lot of different museums and water slides and zoos and all. So anyway, I had a really good time with some people, and anyway, so that was a nice little mini trip that and I haven't been able to really do much, but I did. It was just only like 3 hours from here, and so that was a nice little break for me. So I hope everybody else had a good weekend. And so I wanted to touch base on a few things here. So I had a couple state troopers following me there. And then I've had about 3 or 4 of them follow me since I've been back. So, if you're going to keep harassing me, I'm going to keep exposing you. That you don't get paid to harass people, and there's a lot of truths coming out about who the police really work for, and it goes all the way up to this Octagon group, so that all secretly work for the Khazarian mafia. Okay, so there's truth coming out now, including the judges as well. The judges work secretly, that in the Masons and the police, that it all goes up to the highest levels of the Khazarian mafia, or where they're actually getting their orders from. Okay, they have never worked for the public. They haven't been public servants in over 20 years. I mean, it got corrupted, a long time ago. I guess in the 50s, 40s, I don't know. But it's been corrupted for a long time. And so, I keep, I do these videos just telling the truth about what's going on with them. And of course, they don't like that. So they do these things to try to harass me or intimidate me all the time. And so, so I just, and when I first got home from Arizona, got back to Minnesota, it was mostly the state police that were pulling me over. It was like a total of 30 times or something, and I some of them, I got dismissed, these dumb things they were trying to, but like at least half of them I ended up getting all these minor things on my record, like a whole slew of stuff, and I had to go into court, and it's my word against the police, and the police and the judges are in cahoots. So it's just you're up against a pretty much a losing battle, when they just try to, and so they get you on these charges, and then you got to pay these, and then you have this on your record for a while. It's a really it's a system that needs to be changed drastically. It's as corrupt gets. So I fed up with these authorities, so-called authorities, that we have in this country. And I've been trying to do my part for years, and so I don't know if people know this about my story, but I am the one who drove out to to Washington, D.C. when they were trying to impeach President Trump. And it was like really high, it was like they were just adamant about they were going to impeach him so he wouldn't have any chance at all at running again. Okay, and so this was, he got impeached in the House by, see, I don't know if you know this story, but you have to be impeached in the House and the Senate to be fully impeached. Okay, so the Nancy Pelosi and her gang did, and it was like those three, it was like Omar, I think, was in there too with that committee, and there was like what that one girl, she's like Indian, I forgot her name, but anyway, that other congresswoman, they were involved in that part with working in the House part of the, but you have to be impeached in the House and the Senate for it to be a full impeachment. And so I had evidence against all of the senators, because all the senators were on the Armed Forces Committee with John McCain. And those are the people that I had been writing into, explaining to them about trying to get help about the corruption at the military base in Arizona that I worked, and try to report the different crimes. And John McCain was the head of that board. He was the head of the Armed Forces Committee. And then all these, senators working with him that were part of that committee, and they were all part of trying to impeach Trump. It was mostly Democrats, so, but, it's not just Democrats. Some other, Republicans were just as bad. So, anyway, I was going to write in the mail. I didn't know for sure who to direct it to, because I didn't know if I could trust Bill Barr at the DOJ or whatever. So I just drove to D.C. at that time, and I got in the mail to President Trump, like as close as I could get to D.C., and he got it. And, my sworn statement saying because there was that I had been writing into all of these people that are now trying to impeach President Trump. It was a notarized sworn statement that I got notarized at Navy Federal in Maryland, and it said, I certify under penalty of perjury that I had contacted all of these senators that are now trying to impeach President Trump and the Armed Forces Committee, and I had let them know about all of the crimes at the military bases, and none of them wrote back or tried or even commented in any way. And so, as far as I'm concerned, they should be charged with treason. Which was what John McCain ended up being charged with, and John McCain was executed. He did not die of a brain tumor. That's a lie from the mainstream news. He was executed for treason and crimes against humanity, from what they found under the Trump administration of the things that he had been involved with. Him and Lindsey Graham. Okay, they're part of the Khazarian Mafia, working for our government. Okay, they're the main heads of it. Lindsey Graham and John McCain were the main heads of the Khazarian Mafia that were pretending to be our government. Okay, so I had written that sworn statement, and I said, as far as I'm concerned, you should all be charged with treason like John McCain was, if you continue this. And so if you notice, if you do the research, Trump was impeached in the House, but he was never impeached in the Senate. Okay, so it stopped. I got that sworn statement in because, I was the one writing in about these crimes that I had accidentally become a witness to in Arizona. So, you think you can't do your part, or you think maybe, your some small action that you take doesn't mean anything, and that's not true. It's not true. Everybody can do their part, and it does matter. It does matter. You can make a difference, and more people need to stand up and take that authority, and then there's a Bible verse that I talk about this in this video when I talked about this before. And this Bible verse is Romans 2:16, and it says, and on that day God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, So I think this was a biblical thing, and I talk about that verse, and I believe that on that day, God saw that these people were just wrongfully trying to make up lies to try to impeach him, and that he was, acquitted in the Senate. Okay. So that's what happened. That was like, 2019, 20, that happened, and he was never impeached in the Senate. So you have to be fully impeached in the House and the Senate to be fully impeached. So he was never fully impeached. So that means he could have, he could have run again. He could run, and so, and there's another Bible verse that uses that. God likes to use this particular phrase, on that day. And I've just found another Bible verse because I was looking in Zechariah, because I believe we're in the beginning of the apocalypse, and I'll talk about that in a second here. Because in Zechariah it talks about at the end of the apocalypse there'll be 2/3 of all mankind will be annihilated from the world, because apparently God's people are only 1/3. Okay, so I was looking up the scriptures in Zechariah, and it said another thing that it said on that day. It's in Zechariah 13:1, and it says, "And on that day a fountain will be opened to the people of the house of David to cleanse them from impurity." So I'm just going to decree this over the earth tonight, and I decree Zechariah 13:1 over this earth tonight. And on that day, a fountain will be open to the people of the house of David to cleanse them from their impurities. So I decree this over the earth, the chosen people, and that we be cleansed and purified. And so we can walk more righteously, I guess, in our authority and everything. But so for those who aren't aware, so we all remember the eclipse that happened April 8th. Of course, that was a big deal. I mean, I personally felt shifting from those solar flares. I don't know if anybody else did, but I mean, I personally felt like different emotions going on within me. Like it was like a purification. It was like I was just, I was like kind of just getting emotional about certain things and different things like that. So I don't know if anybody else felt that, but then, so I don't know if nobody's really talked about this much. So, and this is a really big deal. So 17 days later, after April 8th, it was April 25th, and these horses were seen out of nowhere running through London. Okay, I'm going to show this real quick. Horses, it was a black one and a pale one. Okay, and they just seemed to come out of nowhere. Okay. And the white one had blood all over it. Okay, let me see. So I'll show you this here. Okay. They tried to say they were military horses, but look at all the blood on the white one. And they came out of nowhere, and then like they disappeared out of nowhere is what I heard. And they were like, "Whoa!" This was like the middle of London. So I don't know if you ever saw that footage, but yeah. Here's another video.
A number of household cavalry horses were seen running loose around central London on April 24th after escaping a routine exercise.
That's what they were trying to say.
One video appears to show a horse covered in blood.
Covered in blood. Yeah.
A British Army
Okay, they're trying to say that they were cavalry horses that got loose. But I mean that horse was like just full blood, like all over the front. And what I heard is that they were just came out of nowhere and disappeared out of nowhere. And so I personally believe that these were the two of the four horsemen talked about in the book of Revelation. There's going to be four horsemen. It's going to be war, conquest, death, and famine. And the black horse represents famine, and the white horse represents death. Okay, so and then literally like the very next day is when the tornadoes started happening here in the Midwest, and all these. I mean, we had like a whole slew of tornadoes. I mean, just all the way across the whole country, and there was that whole slew of different things that happened all over the planet. That happened. It started right after this. So if you do your research, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is, I believe we have completely started the beginning of the apocalypse, and that just means that is just going to be God's judgment on the earth. His judgment and his cleansing. And so, I think there'll be periods. Of course, you'll have periods where you can repent, and that's what he. But I mean, we're at the point where people have had long enough now to repent. Like these really evil people that are just purposely trying to kill so many people. I mean, they've had long enough to repent now, and it's time for just judgment to come down on these people. They have been given multiple chances to do the right thing, and it's their arrogance. They just don't think, they don't believe in the Bible, I guess. And when you become when you sell your soul, scales, Satan puts scales over your eyes, so you really can't even see the truth anymore. I mean, they won't even see anything coming. It's literally like they're deceived by the great deceiver. That's basically what they are. And so it's hard to believe that people would be so arrogant at this point that they could still think that they're gonna get away with this new world order. But I mean, they're not, but they're not going down easy either, that's for sure. So I mean, so we just it's time for people to repent, the ones that are seriously seeking the Lord, and realize that this is just going to get worse from here. It's going to keep going in different stages of the apocalypse. So if you aren't aware of that, I wanted to talk about that tonight. So anyway, I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I got some sun and got outside, and so okay, all right, God bless.